Good morning, guys. It is a fine Saturday morning. I've got a customer coming to look at one of the shells. I've got the blue shell located way over here, right there. He's coming from Canada and he has to check it out. If he wants it, he's gonna buy it, but he's got to just take the title because Canada, he has to send the title in to make sure it's not stolen, blah, 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 a bunch of stuff in order to bring the shell across the border. So he's gonna do that, but I kind of lined up all the STIs here. I think back to when I was 16 years old, I had my first Forester. I'll pop up a picture here actually of when I bought it. We bought it, my dad and I bought it with a blown motor, put a motor in it, and that was my first car ever. And an STI was such a dream car that I couldn't even fathom it. And I'm just thankful that, let's see, 5 years later, 6 years later, that I've owned a lot of them. Yeah, I can't, the feeling is, it's kind of a weird feeling, but I'd like to do a video how everything started, how I got going, doing part outs, things like that. So if you guys want to see that video of kind of my story from 14 when I kind of started doing cars until now, make sure to drop a comment down below that you want to see that story, the business story essentially. Comment the business story if you want to see it. Well, we've got all the STIs lined up, 2 VAs, 2 07 GDs, and technically another one over there. Technically the blue shell is an STI, but there's not much left of it. And I still don't have my Forester back from paint, which once that shell leaves and maybe one or two other cars, I'm gonna start bugging the guy again. I've kind of just been leaving him alone, letting the car sit there until I get some more space, but I'll start bugging him, see if I can get that thing back, because it's been way too long and I'm not even super confident that it's gonna look fine, that it's gonna look okay, or how all that's gonna go, but I guess we'll find out when we get there. This was later on that day in our local town. It was called the Harvest Festival. There was an old car show and a farmer's market. Me and my girlfriend went and walked around for a while. Then this next clip you see was on Monday, so I didn't really record anything more on Saturday or Sunday. All right, we've got the 17 STI here. We're gonna check out what's in it, see what came with the car, see what we need to get, see if there's anything missing. I think part of the intake is missing, unfortunately. But yeah, let's start digging through here. This door over here is locked, so I gotta unlock it. All right, what do we got? We got some valve covers. We got intercooler, which is nice. If you guys are buying cars like this that are broken, down, you're gonna fix them up, try and buy them not all apart, because let me tell you, it is a big pain sometimes. I would much rather, I know it may seem like less work if the motor's already pulled or something like that, but I can assure you, for at least me personally, I would much rather buy a car that is untouched in terms of disassembling than one that is torn apart, because usually there's parts missing, things are broken. It's just not ideal. Well, it looks like we got the OEM downpipe, which these things used to go, I think I sold one of them for 1,400 bucks. Certain recyclers that found out the Subaru ones are worth a lot would pay you 1,500 bucks for a downpipe, which is just awesome. So here we've got our unfortunately chopped up NVIDIA exhaust. Here's the mid pipe. Flex pipe's not too bad. Looks like there's something on the exhaust here. This is just taking you guys through what I do when I buy a car. Kind of go through, look at everything, figure out what you got, what you need to buy, all the fun stuff. I hope that these seats are okay in the back here. There's kind of some potentially oily stuff. Oh, looks good. Looks fine. That's good. Got some Modelo. Oh, a bunch of random stuff here. Cam gears, air pump stuff. Oh, got the alternator. Back seats have some indents and a little dirty, but not bad. I've had some where people leave stuff like this. They leave stuff like that on the rear seats, and it drips oil all over it. So I'm thankful that was not the case with this one. Let's check in the rear here. Or actually, let's check the front here first. We got timing belt, doesn't matter. Timing belt, timing covers, coil packs, serpentine belt, spark plugs, some more random things that I'm glad are here because when it's missing, oh nice. Need a sock on some Supreme Shine. I don't think I really want to touch that. Oh, it's because it's broken. Still don't really want to touch it, so we're gonna put that in there. Not sure what these are. In for service, old license plate. That's my shipping bill. There's the title. Let's take that out. There's some more of the exhaust, the header, intake manifold. Oh, here's the intake, or at least part of it. Okay, cool. Looks like we got some of the intake, WD-40, some tire foam, some tire shine. I'm actually happy with the interior of this thing. Thought it was going to be worse, so that's good. But I'm pretty set on ordering a EJ20X for this thing. I think it'll be cool. I don't know. Lately, I've just been like feeling a little. I don't know what to even. I don't even know how to explain it. Oh, except we got some rain. Might have to pick some of this stuff up. But I've just been like, I don't know, lacking motivation, which is a horrible thing to say because it's just you don't need no motivation. You just need to do it. But been feeling a little not as motivated to knock out some projects, which sucks. But we got to do it anyways. So I think today I might order the 20X for this guy. We're going to need a downpipe. I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flex fuel kit, injectors, and a few other things out of my 19 STI because I'm going to be selling that one. Put stock stuff back in that, and then put the flex fuel and stuff on this car. I just got to talk to my tuner and see if I can buy another tune and flip the tune from that one onto this 17. So I will need an access port for this, a downpipe. I'm going to do that flex fuel stuff hopefully because I'm not going to use this factory downpipe. I have an exhaust for it because I'm not running the straight pipe. It's going to be way too loud. We're going to need a timing kit, obviously, a clutch, which there's a flywheel in the back we can get redone. There's an ACT clutch in that guy, and I'd like a little bit beefier clutch in this because if I'm going to be off-roading it, not necessarily I'm going to be off-roading it, but if I need to slip the clutch a little bit more, I want the clutch to be able to take a little bit more abuse, if you know what I mean. So I think I might try and get different clutch than the OEM exity replacement like I usually do. Overall, happy with this purchase. Like I said, guys, if you're buying projects, try and buy them whole altogether because man, it's when I take it apart and I put everything away, it's a lot easier than when somebody else does it. I don't know where they put stuff. They probably lost stuff. For me, it's different because I have a lot of parts. So if there's stuff missing, it's not a big deal. But if you say you buy this silver car right here and I pulled it apart and I lost half the bolts and there's a couple brackets in there that I didn't really think I needed. So I threw them away, and you buy this thing from me and you buy a motor and you throw it in there. Now you're missing these brackets, you're missing a bunch of bolts, and you don't have a spare car to pull that stuff off of. And it makes it a lot more difficult and it makes it a lot more expensive. So try and buy a whole car, or try and buy a car that hasn't been taken apart. If it's been taken apart, keep that in mind that you might need to buy some more stuff and maybe negotiate a little bit more from there. Just some things I've learned buying cars like this. Much rather buy one that's never been taken apart. I should say one that's not apart, because if it's been taken apart and put back together, that's better than just being apart. I don't really have any small projects to do, and I think that's why I'm like struggling to just get going on one. This black Outback's kicking my butt. I'm trying to fix that. This silver green one here needs a motor. The silver STI needs a motor. I don't know why I'm feeling like I don't want to get some stuff done, but I have to. So I'm just gonna get it done. But let's organize this stuff for the 17 STI right here. Looks like most of it's here, which I'm really glad. I want to get parts coming for this thing so that we can rip it this winter and rip it at the dunes maybe in the spring. Not decided what I want to do for a lift kit. It's looking like most likely lift springs and a small strut top spacer is going to be the best option for now. I don't want to spend money on coilovers, and the chances of me getting a sponsor for coilovers with this small of an audience is slim to none. So for now, we're just doing lift springs probably and a little spacer. Down the road, maybe some coilovers, but we're in money saving / budget mode because because I want to buy a house in the next year. So we won't need a lot of this stuff, like the valve covers, the cam gears, because if we're getting this 20X, that's all going to be on that car already. We will need the intake manifold that's in the back and a few other odds and ends. But I talked to somebody that has done like 30-ish customer EJ20X swaps, and he said for this car, dual AVCS, if you don't know what that is, it's just basically dual variable cam timing. So intake and exhaust has variable cam timing, and the EJ20X has those. And he said it's almost a drop-in swap, which is kind of cool. So if I get a good motor, I'll have to try and find a decent importer. Hopefully we have good luck with it. It'd be sweet to throw it in here, be able to abuse it a little bit. It's not going to make a lot of power. You know, it's going to be probably 18 psi boost ish, probably 275 wheel, maybe 300 wheel, somewhere in that area. But I think it'd be fun. We can abuse it a little bit, drift it this winter, take it to the dunes in the spring, maybe. Fun stuff. But yeah, let me kind of organize some of this stuff, chuck it back in the car. I just wanted to see what was in there. I don't know what I want to tackle next, unfortunately, but I'm not sure what I want to do. I'd like to sell one of those cars whole, just because otherwise I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for the green Outback, and 5 cars that the Outback, the black one, I've already done a motor swap on, but I've got 4 cars that need a motor swap, and that's quite a bit of, I guess, work, I should say, which sounds like I'm complaining, but in terms of it'll be a long time, it'll be a slow moving process of getting them moved out of here. So I'd like to sell the white one whole, ideally. I'd sell both, but I might start parting out this white one in terms of mods, not the chassis. Got everything thrown back in. Now we're gonna take a look. Well, first I'm gonna send my tuner an email actually to make sure he's okay with me ordering another tune and kind of flip-flopping tunes. Be kind of confusing, but I'm gonna email him, talk to him first, then we're gonna look at some 20X's online, see if we can find a reputable importer and go from there. Get one ordered. I think they're around $1,000, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. I'm totally fine spending, a few extra $100, make sure I'm getting a good one. I don't want to get a bad one, but ideally we have most everything ready to go when we get that motor, because I think there's a 30-day warranty on them. We're past the 30 days. We started up and it knocks or something. The cost of me putting a EJ257 back into that car, for how I like to do it, it's about a $5,000 cost. So that's redone heads, new block, new cam gears, new timing, new clutch, all that stuff. So one of these is, we're getting almost a quarter of the price, which obviously it is not as valuable with a 2-liter in it, but the thing's already beat up anyways and it's got hail damage, and my point is to just drive it. Good morning, ma'am. Anything to say? It is the next morning, and we are going to see what kind of damage that the previous owner did to this 17 STI. We're going to pop the flares off this guy. We're going to see how bad it is. I don't think they even did any they just chopped it. I don't think they did any folding or sealing or anything, which in Texas might not be a big deal. Michigan, winters, that's a big deal. So we're going to pop the flares off, specifically the rears. The fronts, there's no sealing that needs to be done. It would just be mostly the rear. Let's take it off, see how ugly it looks. Maybe it would look okay without flares, but then we'd have holes, so I don't really know. Let's take a look though. Also, I think my new plan with my 19 STI, take all the mods off of it, and I can either sell them or put them on the 17, because I think I have all the parts to make it stock, including a downpipe, including intake, TGVs, all that stuff. So I might do that. We'll see though. Figure why not? I'm selling the 19. Stock versus modified. It's pretty lightly modded, so it doesn't make a big difference. All right, let's take a look, see if these come out easy. Not really sure. The riv nuts, I'm guessing that's what they are. Not sure if they're stable, but we'll see. I'm kind of expecting this to be bad, just based on what I could see from up underneath there, and based on what I could feel. It feels like it was just chopped and, yeah, it was. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, why? I don't understand. Why do people do this? Oh, they're terrible cuts too. All right, so pretty bad. Man, who just chops? I don't understand. Why would you chop it and just completely leave it? And it's a horrible chop too. At this point, if we're gonna lift it, we might as well like chop the rest so we can fit a bigger tire in here. Man, terrible. What I might do to kind of clean some of this up First of all, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research on how to seal all this up because I've not experienced body wise. But before we do that, we might kind of just continue this down to right there. If you can see this line like that, and then we might do the same over here. Kind of continue this down like that. So we might have a little bit of extra room for a little bit bigger wheel and tire. But yeah, this ugly. Let's go check out the other side. I'll show you guys a better shot of this. So as you can see my line I drew there. That's what I'm thinking about doing. But it's chopped so horribly. Let's see if I can. So you can see here that they just cut it and didn't seal anything. So this is the outer body, and this is the fender liner. This right here is the inner body that they come together, and they just left that all separate. So if I left that in the wintertime, especially here in Michigan, salt and water is going to shoot up into the body and destroy it eventually. So we don't want to do that. So we're going to have to figure out some way to seal that well. I got to do research, like I said. I'm not a body guy, but we can certainly learn, right? I'm expecting the exact same on this side. This one's just as bad. Man, why? And the most brutal cuts. Like the cut doesn't even make sense. If you're trying to make more clearance for your wheel and tire setup, you'd have to cut here and here more. Like if it bottoms out, it's gonna hit here first, and they didn't even cut that. Chopped, didn't seal, of course. Didn't expect anything less. As you can see, just jagged cuts. Didn't even clean that up at all. Let's take off a front now, see what that looks like. I'm gonna have to definitely clean up the cuts, but maybe the front's better. I mean, one can hope, right? But I doubt it. Yeah, this one's cut bad too. Oh my gosh. Why would no? I don't have any more words. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense how it was cut. Like I understand to a point cutting it to fit a bigger wheel and tire and tuck it up a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, pretty bad here too. Again, we might try and do like a little cut like there. I know we'd be cutting these things, but they got a hole anyway, so who cares? So maybe we could do a cut like that, and then we could continue this cut, and if we need to, we could even continue it all the way down there. But again, just a jagged, awful cut. At least they still left the fender liners on. You can see my line there. Maybe we'll make a cut like that, and another cut there. I'm not really going to show this other side unless it's any worse or any better, but I'm going to pop this one off too. This flare's already kind of coming off. You can see the riv nut pulled out right there, so I'm going to have to figure that out. Just brutal. She looks real good now, doesn't she? All right, that's going to be it for this one. Our plans with this 17, lift springs, a little strut top spacer, hopefully get us like a 2-inch lift, smaller rims, bigger tires, more of an off-road setup. Rip it this winter, maybe take it to the dunes in the spring. If you guys like that idea, make sure you let me know by liking the video, commenting, subscribing, following, whatever platform you're seeing this on. But that's the plans for the 17. I hope you guys are doing well in life. I hope your projects are doing well, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.